how we should hip hinge first. Our hips are designed in ball and socket joints, so it's best that we use those joints to bend forwards than it is that we use the lower back and we do this. The spinal joints are very poorly designed so that when they have forces going forwards, there's nothing to stop them continuing going forwards, which means it strains them. They have to work quite hard, all the ligaments and muscles surrounding them, to pull back and hold you in a good place. So if we can use our hips more, we're much better off and we're much less likely to irritate our lower backs. So our hip joints are around about here. Top of the leg comes up and fixed into this ball and socket joint, which is multi-axillary, so it can move in multiple directions very freely and comfortably. And what we want to do is learn to hinge from here. So if you look at my back, it's not going over like this. We're staying nice and straight and locked up through the back and just hinging at the hips. A good way to practice this is when you're doing your teeth in the morning, or if you're doing any washing up and you're leaning over the sink, rather than doing it like this, think about hip hinging. Now the next progression from the hip hinge is the squat. So we start with a hinge, then we're going to bend the knees, and we're going to really push our bottoms back. Now by pushing the bottom back, you're going to stop your sacrum, this bit here, tucking under, which is bad. If the sacrum tucks under, it's again going to put pressure through those joints further up the back. So I want you to think about relaxing your shoulders down and together between the shoulder blades, pushing your bottom right the way back, and you're going to reach back towards a lowish stool, nice stable stool. When you come up, you're going to look up, you're going to drive through your heels and make sure your knees stay out and push straight up. Your weight should stay on your heels so your toes don't really bear much weight when you're doing that. The reason for making sure that your weight stays through your heels is so that you don't transfer weight forwards, which again will stress the back. You want to make sure you're using your glutes to power you back up. So that's why it's important to look up and drive straight up through your heels, keeping the knees going outwards. With ladies in particular, often the knees, when you squat, they sort of buckle in like this. That's why it's so important for us to keep them going out. So from in front, the squat's going to look like this. You're going to start off with a hip hinge, then you're going to bend the knees. The bottom's going to keep pushing backwards, so you're going to really have to reach back for that stool until you reach it. Try and hold the brace, so you're going to keep your stomach pulled in towards your midline to make sure that you've got your core muscles activating. And when you're coming up, you're going to look up, you're going to drive through your heels, keep your knees pushing out, and you're going to drive straight up. So there's hardly any weight going through your toes, you're going straight up. There's no forward translation, it's upwards. That way your glutes are firing and you're not depending on other structures or stressing the lower back.